Hello, Liberlandians, and welcome to another episode of the Liberland Show. I hope you can hear the natural sound right now, and if not, it is a beautiful rainy day here in Ontario, Canada. And recently we had Tom Walls as a guest on ANCAP Radio, which is a passion project, side project, I'm not sure what you want to call it, but something I've been working on for the past year with Doug Casey and a few other really cool people. It's been fun to watch it grow, and it continues to snowball. And a recent guest we had on the show was our very own Tom Walls of Liberland. So if you check out the last episode of the Liberland Show, we posted a recording of ANCAP Radio. We're going to post another recording of ANCAP Radio on this episode as well, featuring a name that many of us know very well also, and that is Tom Walls, our Minister of Foreign Affairs. I was thinking about it when I was talking to Tom. I'm like, man, I think I've interviewed you more than anybody else I've ever interviewed in my life. And so it's always a good time with Tom. It was great to have him as a guest on ANCAP Radio. We talked about citizenship with Liberland. We talked about all the Liberland festivals, the anniversary, Floating Man. And so get ready for a good one. Without further ado, let's play the episode. All right, and here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of ANCAP Radio. I'm your host, Adam Carswell, the voice of liberty, joined today by another anarcho-capitalist, libertarian, voluntarist, whatever you want to call him, free-thinking guest, the one and only Tom Walls, who is the Liberland Minister of Foreign Affairs. So we are really looking forward to our conversation with Tom today. Before we get into that, I just want to remind everyone, whether you're with us here live or on the replay, hit that like button, hit that retweet button, hit that follow button. Get everyone up here on stage, and we will get into it. So I think it is important to kind of set the story or the stage here. A lot of this entire journey, even for me personally, began with Liberland. If you trace it far back enough, it really began with me quitting my day job, going into real estate, getting obsessed with a bunch of crazy YouTube channels, Jeff Berwick's in particular. And through Jeff Berwick, I found not only Liberland, but my business partner and where I work now, and so many other things. But I say that because we've had Jeff on the show a number of times, and as you guys know, he's a huge proponent of Liberland and has been since, at least since I found him, 2016, 2017. So it's been a long time coming. I am the host of the Liberland Show as well, so if you ever look up Liberland on YouTube, you'll hear my golden pipes over there. But have met so many cool people along the way. Tom Walls being one of the first and most pivotal, I'd say, just personally in my own Liberland journey, coming in as an American. Sometimes, especially, I remember just Liberland even 5 years ago, Tom, there wasn't a massive amount of American presence. I think it's definitely grown over the years. But for me, it was nice to be able to have someone I could talk to about Liberland that just spoke the same native tongue as I did, and we've gotten to know each other very well over the years now. You've always been super gracious with your time, talking about the country, your experiences, etc. So, ladies and gentlemen, we do want to get this ball rolling now with Tom Walls. So, I know it's quite a wordy there intro, Tom. I'm going to kick it over to you now, and if you could just tell our listeners a little bit about your background, how you discovered Liberland, and also just how you started thinking this way, this libertarian, anarcho-capitalist way, compared to maybe a previous way of life that you lived before.
Hi, Adam. Thank you for the introduction. Can you hear me okay?
We can. We're rocking.
Okay, awesome. Well, great. It's great to be on the air with you, and it's great to be on ANCAP Radio. It's a real honor, and it's great to be on this Twitter space as well. And thanks for you and your staff, Mark, for helping to set this up. And it's just been a real adventure being involved with Liberland. I got involved right after it started. I read about it in the news just like everybody else. And Vit Yedlichka, I didn't know him, but we had some friends in common in the liberty movement, in the libertarian movement. I've been involved in libertarian stuff for many, many years, going back to my college days. And I was the president of the College Libertarians. I worked at the Libertarian Party headquarters in Washington, D.C. many years ago. I was also involved as one of the founders of the Republican Liberty Caucus, which is a libertarian Republican organization. So we supported people like Ron Paul, Justin Amash, Thomas Massey, and candidates of that nature. So total, I probably started out as, sort of a basic conservative with free market economic views and more, tolerant social views, which is more or less what a libertarian is. It gets a little bit more specific than that, but that's a good general description. So once I started reading the literature and the different books about libertarian ideas, I began to understand that it was a very coherent philosophy. And so I got involved in many, many ways. I also got involved in the term limits movement in the United States, where we believe that politicians should only serve a limited number of terms when in office. The president can only serve two terms, so the people in Congress should also serve a limited number of terms. We feel that that would prevent corruption, because the longer a politician is in office, the more corrupt they become, and that's shown. They vote for more pork barrel spending. They vote for more special favors and regulations that benefit some people at the expense of others. So, I had a background in that. I also had a background in diplomacy. At college, I studied German and business administration. So I spent some time in Germany as well. And when I was over there, I eventually worked for the U.S. consulate in Hamburg, and I worked at the U.S. Embassy office in Berlin. And that's when Richard Holbrooke was the ambassador to Germany. And after he was the ambassador, he went on to be the Undersecretary for European Affairs, and he brokered the peace agreement, the Dayton Peace Accords, between the former Yugoslav republics. Now, I didn't maybe agree with everything that Holbrooke stood for, but he was definitely a great boss and a great statesman. And that was certainly an accomplishment, to bring these formerly warring republics together to sign a peace agreement. Now, there may be some things you could criticize about the agreement, but they stopped the fighting, which is
Right.
progress. And being here in the Balkans, I'm in Belgrade, Serbia right now at our office right on the river. And I tell you, this place has such an interesting history. The people are so warm and friendly, and the food is great, and the culture is really something you can appreciate a lot, and I certainly do. And made a lot of friends over here so far, and it's really nice being over here.
Absolutely, and it's again over the years just been great getting to know you, watching the country grow over the years too. Looking back to when we first got introduced to Liberland on our own personal journey. So thank you for all you're doing, and I do want to shift into one of the hottest topics when it comes to Liberland, especially over just the last couple of years, which is citizenship, e-residency. These are questions I know you and me and anyone else associated with the country always get a lot of inbound requests. Sometimes from, there's the I won't go too far into it, but you get the spam requests, we'll say, for citizenship. We'll leave it at that. But could you talk a little bit about what it looks like to become a citizen or an e-resident of Liberland, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Well, we have close to 1,000 citizens now that are actual citizens of Liberland. And we also have what's called the e-residency program. That was inspired by the Estonian e-residency program. It allows you to open a business in the Liberland community. It's not as involved. It's like I say it's a first step to becoming a citizen. If you're an e-resident, you can open a business in the jurisdiction of Liberland. And of course, we're based on free markets. There's no obligatory taxes, although contributions are welcome, of course. But once you pay the e-residency fee, that allows you to do that. You can also register property or other assets in Liberland. You can set up shop on the Liberland Market, which is an online marketplace. You get your ID card with your photo and a QR code that verifies that you're a Liberland e-resident. You can conduct business on the Liberland blockchain. And we're introducing a new program in which you can visit any of the participating Liberland offices in different places in the world. Where I am right now at our office in Belgrade, Serbia, all e-residents and citizens, of course, are welcome to come. Actually, right now, anybody can come and visit if somebody's here with prior notice. We also have an office in Washington, D.C. now. We have an office in Prague. We have Liberland Arc Village in Apatin, Serbia, where I'll be headed in just a few days. So you're certainly welcome to come and visit as one of the benefits of being a Liberland e-resident and a citizen too. To become a citizen, you need to have 5,000 merits, and you can do that either by donating or by working for Liberland in some way. Help us out, help us move forward in promoting Liberland and setting up diplomatic relations with other countries, with helping us in technical ways, whether it's programming or e-commerce or something of that nature. So there's a lot of ways to earn merits, and you can become part of our free system in Liberland. So you can learn more about this on liberland.org on the website, and we have frequently asked questions and news and other information that you can find out about us there.
Yep, I believe it's all pretty straightforward if you go to Liberland.org. I know. Do you remember the cost of e-residency right now, Tom?
I believe it's $150 US or its equivalent. And people who have done work for Liberland can earn that in merits, and if they have enough merits, they can use that. But the quickest way to do it is to pay the $150 fee, and then we do a KYC because we want to know who everyone is in Liberland. We don't want any shady characters applying for e-residency or citizenship. So.
And I do need in the world of anarcho-capitalists and libertarians, we all do love our privacy. But I must say, I have seen over the years, people, and Tom, I know you can think of who I'm thinking of here, but just random shady characters seriously trying to jeopardize what we've done with Liberland, and so that is the one KYC that I'll go to bat for.
Yeah. Thank you, Adam. And yeah, we're pretty much a self-selected community. People agree on the ideas of freedom and respect for one another and individual responsibility. So, pretty good group that we have. If you stack us up in comparison with other countries and the people that run those countries, I think we come out pretty good. Again, taxes are voluntary. We don't force you at the point of a gun to pay taxes. We just ask that you treat other people with respect and don't commit force or fraud in any way on your fellow Liberlanders. So
Exactly, and there's some other things here too with Arkville, some other points I want to get to. And by the way, guys, in about 15 minutes, we will be opening up the floor for questions, for callers, comments. So if you do have anything that you want to ask Tom or even myself as we make our way through today's conversation, you can get those ready. And then at the 30-minute mark, we'll be opening up the floor.
One thing. I only take yes or no questions. So I'm just kidding.
He's not that much of a politician, guys. Promise. But yeah, and also in regards to citizenship and Liberland too, the team was kind enough to bring me on there as well. So if you guys do have specific citizenship questions, keep this in mind. And if you guys could just drop this below, that way we don't have to say it a bajillion times. But my citizenship team email is citizenship.adam@liberland.org. I do know the price for a Liberland passport and full citizenship, Tom. I believe it's still 10,000 US. That's correct.
Yeah, 5,000 merits. Merits became pretty popular. So what we had to do is raise the price a little bit. So 5,000 merits is equivalent to 10K US.
There we go.
And I can talk a little bit about the passport. Right now, we don't recommend that you go and travel all over the world with it, even though you can travel with a Liberland passport to some countries. I think there's about 12 or 14 countries that people have traveled with Liberland passports to. I used mine for example, to fly from the UK to Canary Islands. Vit has used his to fly into the US, although we're not officially recognized by the United States yet. Some Latin American countries, some African countries. We're actually working on agreements with some countries to recognize our passport. And one country, Somaliland, already does. And you don't need, if you're a Liberland citizen, you do not need a visa to visit Somaliland in Africa. Not Somalia, but Somaliland. And we've sent two delegations there already. And a number of countries are starting to sign memoranda of understanding with Somaliland, and their recognition is certainly something that's very well deserved on their part. They have a constitution that guarantees a free market as the economic system. They have private property, which is also guaranteed in the Somaliland constitution. If you want to compare the two, they broke away from Somalia in the early 90s, and they're very stable compared to Somalia. Of course, everybody's heard about what kind of a place Somalia is. And, you know, sometimes people say to libertarians, well, if you don't like government so much, move to Somalia. Well, you know, Somaliland is a much more libertarian place than Somalia. Somalia is ruled by, you know, it's basically a failed state, and
Right.
warlords and, you know, strongman groups are basically who called the shots there. And it's weird because so many countries pour so much billions in aid into Somalia, and they're still a failed state. Somaliland, since it's not generally recognized on the world stage, they don't get foreign aid other than remittances from people from Somaliland, like, say, working in the U.S. or in England and sending money back. That's not foreign aid from governments. They don't get foreign aid from governments. They get remittances from people who work abroad. So, and they're doing much better than Somalia. Imagine that.
Exactly, exactly. No, I've seen the. I mean, we have public photos and maybe videos out there too. I'm sure if our listeners, if you guys just go look it up, Liberland, Somaliland, what's the proper partnership? Isn't necessarily the right word, but do we
Yeah,
have
we
a?
have signed a memorandum of understanding with them, and a few years ago, a cyclone did pretty bad. So we arranged, some Liberland citizens arranged a couple of containers full of food aid to help the people whose villages were destroyed by the cyclone a couple of years ago. And there's some pictures on our Facebook page of us delivering the aid. Eric Suleger was our temporary ambassador to Somaliland at our office there, and he oversaw the delivery of that aid after the cyclones hit Somaliland. So we do have some information about that on our social media and some other pages too.
Sure, and I'm just thinking of this now as well. Another way, if you can work for citizenship, you can pay for citizenship, and then the other one is you could become a settler, right?
Yes, you can. We've been on the land itself for over 250 days. Um, I was there the first day, August 6th, that Croatia started letting people in. That was pretty amazing. After years of only being able to drive by it in the boat and look at it, people were actually allowed to go into Liberland, in the territory itself. And I tell you, we talked about this before. The moment I stepped over that border into Liberland, what a fantastic feeling! What a dream come true! And I got to be there for 8 days. And after that dream came true, my next dream was to ride a bike across Liberland, and I did that like 3 or 4 times. It was amazing. It was really beautiful over there. After that, the Croatians, you know, they continued to let people in, but people from outside the EU and outside the Schengen zone, they started doing something a little tricky with those people. They started banning them from Croatia, and Croatia is the way you get into Liberland. And no reasons were really given, and the few reasons that were given, they said, well, you're going to go camping illegally, or you're going to go start a fire illegally, and you can't do that. So we're going to ban you from Croatia for 30 days or for 90 days. And of course, we're challenging those bans in court. It's not a charge, a criminal charge or anything. They just ban you from the country, and they're doing that to discourage um, people from outside the EU from coming. I guess they figure that people who are from the US or the UK or Canada or Russia or wherever, they're not members of the EU, those countries. So those people have less recourse against Croatia, which is an EU member, if they have a complaint. So they give us the business and treat us, quite unfairly, and we have less recourse because we're not members of the EU. If you are an EU citizen or from the Schengen zone, you can go in. You have to show your ID, show your passport, and they will let you in. We just had almost 200 people about a month and a half ago visit Liberland all at one time, which is amazing. It was a group of Czech people. It's called Vlakfest. Vlak is train. They take a train to a new unannounced place every couple of months, and they decided to come to Liberland, which was pretty darn amazing. And we
Yeah, I
do have,
remember seeing. Go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I remember seeing the highlights from that. I believe again, if you just Google around for it, might even be on Lieberland's YouTube channel to see that was so far you said the biggest official gathering in Lieberland, right?
Yeah, it was the most people we had at one time in Liberland, and we notified the Croatians and everything, and they just let them come in. And a lot of them, they didn't even bother them at all with checking their IDs, and it was basically over. They were overwhelmed by so many people coming in, and we didn't have a single incident then. It was great. It went very
I,
well.
I think that kind of shows I'd say the power of the camera, of the video camera too, and maybe even media, because I know it was so difficult to even set foot on Lieberland territory until Nico I always get his last name wrong. Omilana
Milana, yeah.
did the
Nico,
video,
yeah.
which was fantastic. We'll have to have I'll have our team see if they can find that one. I'll get it to you guys because I know his name's a little tricky to spell, but he did a 30-minute video on Lieberland that just turned into a cinematic masterpiece and really made Croatia look pretty bad. And I mean, I don't know. Would you say, Tom? I feel like that was the linchpin for people finally being able to set foot on Lieberland. But
Yeah,
maybe I'm.
after
Yeah.
right after that video came out, it's called "Sneaking into a Banned Country" by Nico Omilana, and it came out at the end of July. And just a few days later, they opened up the borders. The video, he explains perfectly what the situation with Liberland has been. And in the video, he tried 6 ways from sundown to get into Liberland, going through one border crossing, going through another, going from the river. And it didn't work because the Croatians were still blockading it. So he came through Hungary. He went to Hungary, and one person in someone in the Nico Defense League, the NDL, lent him and his friend jet skis, and they came from Hungary, and they were allowed to land. But the police finally came, and they roughed him up a little bit, literally roughed him up, pushed him around, knocked him to the ground, kicked him. But they couldn't charge him with anything because they hadn't broken any laws. And a few days, it made the Croatian police look pretty bad, if you ask me. And that's a great video. It's about 27 minutes long. It's called "Sneaking into a Banned Country." It's got over 9 million views, I think, already. And look that up on the YouTubes. And that was I think that was a turning point that caused the policy change to let people into Liberland. So it's certainly,
Absolutely.
yeah. And also, our president, Vit Jedlička, met with Zoran Milanovic, who is the Croatian president, about a month before that. It was a very nice, friendly meeting in Zagreb at the Association of Croatian American Professionals. They had their conference in Zagreb in Croatia, and we signed up for that and attended and got to meet him and Kolinda, who was the former president, and many other people. Actually, the governor or the, not mayor, it's kind of like between a city and a state, the province of Osijek Baranja, the governor of that province, we met him as well, and he was very nice to us. And he said, "Oh yeah, come and visit me at my office sometime. We'll talk about what you guys can do in Croatia and investment and tourism and everything." And he was just made the defense minister of Croatia just a couple months ago. So Croatia's defense minister is at least friendly towards Liberland, and the president is friendly towards Liberland. The police and the forestry officials, that's a different story.
Sure, sure, and it's one of those things where I just believe it's only a matter of time until the floodgates really begin breaking loose. There's no blueprint, and if anybody out there knows, let us know. But there is no blueprint to how to start a country in 2024. So I'd
Yeah.
say we're doing a pretty good job at it. And I say we, if you're just tuning in now, I've been the host of the Liberland Show, the podcast, since 2017. It's been awesome. I've done several episodes with Tom, so I feel like I'm just doing another Liberland Show interview right now. But again, this is ANCAP Radio, and if you're tuning in with us live or on the replay, wherever you're at in the world, make sure you hit that like button, the retweet button, and check out ANCAP Radio. We've been rocking here for about a year now, and the horizon looks pretty bright. So shifting back over to a lot of what we were just talking about, Tom, I think, even for me as well, there's a little bit of intimidation, I'd say, for most North Americans and maybe anyone who's just not from the Balkan area and Europe to know, okay, if I want to go do this, if I want to go check out Liberland, like, how do I do it in a way that keeps me safe, able
Yeah.
to do it in the first place? And my advice would be, if you haven't been to Serbia before or any of the Yugoslavian countries, the Balkans, I would do this. I would literally book a one-way ticket to Belgrade, catch a bus or whatever, or network with some Liberlandians, get up to Apatin, go to Ark Village, and just plan on spending a week or two literally at Ark Village and soaking up. That's where you're going to get the most Liberland culture, I would say, and then you can also get the best um, insight and intel on, okay, how am I actually going to get into Liberland? How am I actually going to go over to Croatia? Is it even worth me doing it in the first place? Should I just stay at Ark Village? Like, these are the questions that you can kind of figure out that work best for you personally if you just take that first step. And I know, Tom, you just said you're planning on heading up to Ark Village, which, by the way, is like a
Yes, I've
kind of like
spent
a Liberland. Yeah,
I've
go ahead.
spent a bit of time up there. There's no problems there at all. The issues that we have with Croatia, that they're making things difficult for us with the police and the state forestry company, where they steal our belongings and stuff in Liberland. We have no problem whatsoever in Serbia. Serbia has always been very warm and welcoming to us, and they love visitors coming. And we have a great time up in Apatin. It's right on the Danube River. It's a little bit south, but right across, almost right across from Liberland. So we can take you to Liberland on the boat from there and stay in one of the cabins. I think we have about 20 cabins there. When I stay there, I stay in a cabin on the lake at Ark Liberland Village, and it's wonderful. And we have Floating Man coming up in August, as well as many other activities there. Beautiful place, lots of trees, the beautiful lake there. You DJ'd there, Adam, and that was awesome at Floating Man. I think it was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
That's right. Yeah, 2022. Gonna have to make a reappearance here soon, and don't let him fool you guys. Tom Wall is the number one foreign minister of foreign affairs DJ in the world as well.
Thank you, Adam. It's fun. Yeah, I've DJ'd at Floating Man. I've DJ'd at Anarchapulco down in Acapulco, Mexico. I've DJ'd back home in Florida quite a bit. It's a lot of fun. I play a good mix of stuff, and something to get people out dancing and creating a good atmosphere and having a good time. That's what it's all about.
Exactly. So the anniversary just took place. It's crazy to think that was the ninth anniversary for Liberland. So what are some of your takeaways from the recent anniversary celebration, Tom?
Oh, it was great. We had it in like four places. We kicked it off here in Belgrade at our floating office right on the river where I am right now. We had a few people running for the Liberland Congress address the crowd here. We then got into some buses and went to Ark Village. And then some people went on boats to Liberland, the people who weren't from the EU or the Schengen zone countries. They went on boats, and then others went on the bus to Croatia. We went to a winery there. And a number of people went into Liberland who were part of the group. And then we, brought people back to the Ark to sort of have a wrap-up party there. We had some food and music and some real good times. We also had the people running for the Liberland Congress speak to the people there at Ark, and great event. Great people coming from all over the world, and that was just the whole event was spread out over a couple places, but it was very, very good event. Lots of great camaraderie. Um, a hiccup here or there with the bus leaving on time and dropping people off at the right place. There was a few hiccups there, which we regret, but everybody had a good time who came.
Yeah, yeah. I look forward to the next time I can either make it to an anniversary or a Floating Man, the annual summer festival. I know Jeff Berwick, when we had him on the show, teased out the idea of an Acapulco in Europe.
Yeah.
Co-hosted with Liberland. So I don't know. Are you part of that conversation?
A little bit. Of course, I've been going to Acapulco a couple times already and had a great time in Mexico down there. This last in February, I was there with Vit, with Navid, with other people. My friend and I went to a music festival right after that in Puerto Escondido, and I ran into a Norwegian guy, who went to a Liberland by coincidence went to a Liberland talk in Oslo, Norway, a week and a half before that, and we just started talking. And it's, yeah, I was just up in Acapulco. Oh, you were there? Oh, yeah. What are you doing there? Well, I'm with Liberland. Liberland? Really? I know a guy from Liberland. And he had just met Kjetil, Kjetil, from Liberland, who gave a talk in Oslo, Norway. So this is, pretty far away from Acapulco. So totally by coincidence, I met someone who knew another Liberlander down there in Mexico. So that was amazing. So we'll be there next year. And yeah, we were talking to Jeff Berwick about having an Acapulco Europe over here and hosting it at Arc Village and taking people on the river. And that would be really cool. We were talking about September. I'm not sure. We're in the planning stage for Floating Man right now, and we've already got some graphics designed for that, and we're setting the dates and the events that we're going to have for Floating Man. So, but we hope we can bring Jeff and his people over. If it, we want to create a very similar atmosphere to Acapulco, fun and good ideas, and meeting very interesting and intelligent people.
Right. From my experience, I mean, I feel like the trail has been blazed enough at Arc Village now, where we really could pull that off up there in Apatine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I might have to nudge Jeff on it next time I talk to him, because that'd be really cool to see it. To
And
see
there's
the
plenty. Yeah, that's a great idea, Adam. If you could, that would be super. And there's plenty of accommodations if all the cabins are filled up. There's Airbnbs. There's bed and breakfast. There's hostels. There's hotels in Apatine. So you can definitely be accommodated if whenever you want to come, whether it's for Floating Man, Acapulco, Europe, our anniversary. It'll be our 10th anniversary next year. Um, whatever you want to, or if you want to attend in the off season sometime, you can also stay there even during the wintertime or when we're not having a big event. You're welcome to come and enjoy yourself and enjoy nature and visit Liberland while you're at it.
Absolutely. I'd say I saw there was a few questions down there below. If you guys did have questions about getting to Liberland, or like citizenship questions, anything like that, I know my Liberland citizenship email is somewhere there in the thread below. So feel free to shoot me an email if you guys do have any questions
Well,
on anything we talked about here today.
if I could say a word about our blockchain, we've launched
Absolutely.
our tokens, the Merit and the Liberland dollar. The Liberland dollar is more of a liquidity token, and the Merit is a governance token, and you can vote if you have a certain number of merits. Now, the LLD, or the dollar, Liberland dollar, has already been listed on a couple of exchanges, and there's a couple of wallets that support it already. If you know the Edge wallet, which I've had for a couple of years, that will host your Liberland dollars or Liberland merits, or you can use our native wallet, of course, on the Liberland blockchain. There's also one called Subwallet, and we're also spreading out into the DeFi world on the DEXs, Uniswap, Ethereum based, or Sora, PolkaSwap, Polkadot, and you can. We're bridging it to other cryptocurrencies, including the wrapped tokens. When you have Bitcoin and you want to send it to your Ethereum wallet, you get the wrapped Bitcoin, WBTC, which is an ERC20 token. Then you could put that in your Ethereum. We're going to bridge that to the the wrap tokens as well. So that basically what that does, it enables these cryptocurrencies to be tradable across different blockchains. And so we've definitely got some great people, developers, and marketers working on that. Um, so we post stuff about that quite a bit on the Twitter. Just check out our main page on Twitter here. I think if you see us in the chat here or the space, you can click on it and follow us and see our regular updates about our blockchain.
Yep. If you guys are not already, definitely follow Liberland. We are joined here today live with Tom Walls, the Liberland Minister of Foreign Affairs. We're a little over the halfway mark now, and so around this time is when we do like to open up the floor for callers, questions, comments. So if you guys do have anything that you wanted to ask Tom or just toss out there, now is the time. If you're on a mobile device, you can see the bottom left corner of your screen. There's a microphone button, so just tap the request to speak button. We'll get you up here and keep things moving right along. So again, the floor is now open. As we wait for calls to come through, Tom, another thing that was really big, I'd say in the Liberland news recently, was a trip to Washington, D.C. I know D.C. always raises an eyebrow for any good, healthy anarcho-capitalist and libertarian, but it looked like it was a pretty solid trip for Liberland. So could you recap it? What were some of the takeaways?
Sure. Just at the beginning of May, we participated in the GBA conference, the Government Blockchain Association. That's a nonprofit organization that is the membership includes people from the blockchain industry, people from government who want to either learn more or get more involved with blockchain because it's a much more efficient system of maintaining a government, and that's what we're doing with our blockchain. We're running it on blockchain governance, and you have it certainly introduces transparency where there's none before, and it's certainly that the way where things are going, and governance itself, voting, representation, registering your assets or property on the blockchain. And that's going to become more and more important as there are some people in government who want to do things more efficiently. I'd say the majority probably don't care, but there are some people who are future minded in that respect. And we had a lot of them interested in what we're doing. So as part of the GBA conference, Liberland hosted the final reception for the GBA attendees at our office in Washington, D.C., which is at the Pierce School Lofts, a beautiful building that used to be a school, the Franklin Pierce School. Back in, I think it was the late 19th century. It's a beautiful building. It's got lovely antique furniture, a huge chandelier, a huge library, which I provided quite a few of the books for. And we had the final reception for the GBA conference, The Future of Money, Governance, and the Law there. And we had about 200 people come out to our final reception for GBA. And we also invited staff from other embassies in Washington, D.C. We invited staff from congressional office as well. That's one of the reasons why we're also active in Washington, D.C. is because there are so many embassies and people in government who can, we've established some good relationships with some of the people there, and a lot of the congressional staffers were already fans of Liberland before we met them. So that was kind of cool to meet, staffers from different offices who were Liberland fans already. So we had a great event there. We had some good meetings in Washington. Our crew there is very good. They always take care of us very well. And we provided food and drinks and entertainment for the folks who came out to meet us. And if you want, maybe if you want to open a Liberland office where you are, you could do that, because we have some ideas for turning your office into a self-supporting endeavor. You could make it a business hub. You could make it a co-working space like we have here at the Belgrade office, and also a diplomatic hub for Liberland. So you can kill a lot of birds with one stone in hosting a Liberland office. And we can make it a win-win, and you can earn money doing that too. And also, like I mentioned before, one of the benefits of e-residency is being able to visit our different offices, and we're make sure that the offices are participating in that program. But like I said, our office here in Belgrade, we'd like to invite people and e-residents and citizens to visit us at Ark Village in Apatin, Serbia. We visit us in Prague, visit us in Washington. We're finalizing a location for our office in Buenos Aires in Argentina. And other places too. So maybe we'll open a Liberland office near you, or maybe you can open a Liberland office if there isn't one already in your country or in your where you're living. So
Yeah,
Washington.
that is a really good point, and I think something that we need as a refresher, a reminder as Liberlandians, because a lot of us, I think, would be open to the idea, and we just forget that we can actually go and do something like that. So, um, just so I'm hearing it clearly as well, and for our listeners, if somebody wanted to do that, is it would they have to kind of figure out the logistics on their own? Is if it makes sense, is Liberland willing to help fund the office, or what does that look like?
Well, it depends. I mean, it's all if it makes sense, then we might be able to talk about the sport. Like if you want to be part of the e-residency visitor program, then yeah, we can provide some funds if you want to have like coffee, tea, and water and other drinks, maybe some liver beer. Uh, you know, um, we can talk about providing some support for that if you're in a very strategic location. For example, our Prague office is right near, it's like a couple doors away from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Czech Republic. If it's in a strategic location, if there are a lot of Liberland people where you live and there's a lot of potential for developing that space, then yeah, we can talk about that. You can talk to our chief of staff or send me an email, and we can talk about that some more. Have people come and
Yeah,
hang out. We can have some fun and productive events there. Here there's people coming in the co-working space here today in Belgrade. There's events here. There's yoga sessions in the morning here at our co-working space in Belgrade in the Liberland office, and we have a huge flag hanging outside and a QR code which people can scan. And the couple times I walked out the door here, I heard people talk, "Oh, Liberland," when they're pointing at the flag here at our office in Belgrade. So that was pretty amazing.
right. It's even got me thinking. I'm friends with one of our other guys in the citizenship team, Cameron, and I know he's looking at relocating again in the next few months. So I might have to recruit him out to the Toronto side to maybe help me
Yeah,
get
it
an
was,
office going
it
over here
was
because I know we have a
real,
lot of Liberlandians over here. Yeah,
real
go ahead.
sad that Cameron's father passed away. I got to meet him in Mexico last year. Terry, I think his name was.
Terry, that's right, and Terry had
Yeah,
Liberland. Liberland was in
what a,
his obituary.
what a nice guy, and so young to pass away. You know, um, that's a real heartfelt loss that especially someone you met and got to know a little bit. He's
Absolutely.
such a great guy.
Yeah, rest in peace, Terry. And he's a very proud Liberlandian citizen. Had his Liberland in his obituary, and I know uh, Cam's he's staying strong and really really admired his father. His father is a big reason why he ended up thinking the way that he thinks, which many of us align with. Many might also think is crazy, but I know he's really grateful for the impact that his father had in his life. So yeah.
Yeah, Cameron's a real solid guy, and I really feel for him at this time.
Absolutely. Thank you. Um, this is something I wanted to ask you about because I saw it on the Liberland YouTube channel just a couple days ago. I think. Did you see? I saw the first garden ever in Liberland history was
Oh
planted.
yes, Nicola, the Italian stallion. There's a video of him bringing some agricultural products to plant in Liberland, and he brought them on the bike, and we featured him in one of the videos in our social media. So that was very cool.
It's interesting because I thought that for sure just watching the video he was going to get rejected by the police to bring the hay in there. So are there certain things that you can bring into Liberland that the police aren't going to have a hard time with?
Yeah, I'll tell you. Um, they recently started telling. See, you can walk in, you can ride a bike in. They stopped cars after the first week, I think it was. But you can still walk in and you can bike in, which is a lot faster than walking. And so they've started giving people tickets for having the trailer on the bike, which is how we bring supplies in and building materials. If they say it's over 50 kilograms, you get a ticket for that. And they've given people tickets for many petty things like you don't have a reflective vest on. And here, on paragraph 20, subsection C, it says you have to have a reflective. They're pulling all these things out of the hat to give people tickets for. And some of the more ridiculous charges, Hringer flipped a finger to a camera that they hung on a tree. And I think Matthias was charged for, insulting some of the state forestry people who were stealing our stuff. And I tell you, the court process over there is really slow, but we're happy to report that we've won the first several cases that have made it through, because they don't have authority there. And the inspectors that come and issue notices of violation, they either didn't fill out the report or they didn't show up to court, so they dropped the case. We feel they'd have a hard time arguing in court that the ticket was given for a violation that occurred in Croatia, and none of it's occurring in Croatia. So
Yeah, that's interesting. That's good.
yeah,
That's a good angle. It's just, I guess we need to continue to send as many Liberlandians as we can there, because that will only build up the case over time.
yeah. There's a pretty big backlog of cases. The most serious ones are the bans. They banned a couple people for longer periods of time, for spurious reasons. Those are probably the most important ones in my view. And then there's these misdemeanors for like I said, very petty things like, oh, you're going camping, you can't camp, or you're going to start a fire, you can't start a fire, you can't dig a hole, you can't shoot a bird at a camera hanging on a tree in a place that's not even Croatia. You can't do that. So it's all these things. Like Navid, our finance minister, said, they'll always invent something. Like if there was a ministry of pink balloons, they would send the inspector of pink balloons to write us a ticket for something. And that's bureaucracy in action for you right there.
Yeah, seriously, it is. We talked about a little bit for Floating Man this year. Is there much information on it? I know last time I checked the website, I don't think it was up yet, but it would be great for people to start putting it on their calendar if they could.
Not yet, but we were talking about it the past couple of weeks. Tonka, our in the office of the president, has made a very cool graphic for Floating Man, and we're hammering that out right now. We have a lot of events going on in the United States in July, so it's definitely not going to be in July. So it'll be in the first part of August. I think don't quote me on this, but I think 8 to 11 was what we were talking about. There's something going on at the same time locally called the Bodrog Festival, which a lot of people come out. It's Serbian culture. In the small towns, there is a place called Bački Monoštor, which is Bačka Monastery. That's the name of the town. They have a festival there, the Bodrog Fest. A lot of people come out for that. So maybe we could sort of have some synergy with all the people that are coming for that. That should be in the first part of August. Stay tuned for that, and we'll definitely post about that as soon as the dates are nailed down. But I think it's August 8 to 11.
Awesome. Yeah, and
I want to have more of a compact Floating Man. I think because last year, they opened the borders on August 6th, so that was right in the middle of Floating Man. But the plan, it was a little spread out last year. I want to have a more compact thing so people have specific dates they can come and attend. So I'm pretty sure it's August 8 to 11.
Right, and who would I contact? I'm just thinking about this now too, because I have some friends that are, let's say, decent from a decent popularity perspective, DJs over there in Europe, where it'd be great to see if we can get them lined up for part of the entertainment. Do we have all the entertainment lined up yet, or
no, not yet?
Like?
The entertainment is a very strong part of it. I mean, the point of the festival is international, and we want to bring Liberland people from all over the world there. And one component of it is, music and entertainment and food. Yes, we do that, at Arc Village, but this, in conjunction with this festival, is very important because that's part of the whole experience. Um, and that's why I think, uh, we'll promote that on an international level to our audience and invite people to come from wherever they are.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a push to see here if I can, because I don't know what my calendar is looking like now with two babies under two this summer. I know I'm Tom. I'm itching to get back over there,
Yeah,
but
I know.
this might not be the year. We'll see. But I've got so many friends in the house music space now that I'm confident at least a couple of them would be willing to get over there and just grow their brand, grow their audience, and I don't know where they all stand politically, but hopefully if they don't see the world the way we do, that'll infect them positively. So
Well,
I'm gonna
we'd love to have you
look
over there too, spinning, because when you did it before, that was just
I
great,
know.
great vibes all around, and that was really great. It was really
Yeah, we got to make it happen. I mean, I feel like just from what I remember about Floating Man 2, there was entertainment going on in the evenings, but you can never have too much from what I'm thinking now. Like, you could always have someone just DJing during the day. It doesn't have to be just at night, right?
Yeah, I mean, during the daytime, and there's some, it's less, fewer people there watching music, for example, during the day. But in the evening, we've had instances where several hundred people came.
Right. It was it was packed when I was there, from what I remember.
Yeah, yeah, we had
Cool.
some. We picked some acts that were popular locally and popular in Serbia or Croatia or in the Balkans, and we had some pretty good turnouts for that. Even when there was a
Cool.
competing event down the street at Plava Ruja, we still had a pretty good turnout.
So who would be the one to contact for that? It'd be Tanka.
Tanka, well, I would say maybe our Peter, our chief of staff, or if I can help arrange that. We've got a very good staff there at ARC who is dedicated to making sure things run very smoothly. And we can put you in touch with them if we want to talk about logistics or planning or the dates and the setup in general.
Cool, sounds good. Sorry, I didn't mean to turn the interview into a one-on-one conversation, but you should see that right there. Um, my enthusiasm for Floating Man is justified because it is awesome. So if you have not been to Serbia, Apatin, Liberland, Croatia, or you just have never gone with the intention of getting plugged into this community, highly, highly recommend and endorse Floating Man. Sounds like the dates are still up in the air, but getting in that August 8th to 11th area. You can follow Liberland on Twitter, I'm sure, for all the updates leading up into that. Um, and yeah, what else do we have on the horizon from an events perspective, Tom?
Yeah, I wanted to address that. In July, we have some events in the United States. I believe the dates are July 10 to 13. We will be at Freedom Fest in Las Vegas. And the very first year of Liberland, we brought Vit over to speak at Freedom Fest. And that was just so cool. So many people there already knew us. And this year, the headliner at Freedom Fest is none other than el presidente de Argentina, Javier Milei. And Vit will be sharing a stage with Javier Milei at Freedom Fest in Las Vegas. Um, we're already talking to Argentina, and Milei was already a fan of Liberland. He had talked about us in interviews, and he dressed up as General ANCAP, which will be of interest to listeners of ANCAP Radio. It was a red and black outfit, and he had this huge trident, and he said he was General ANCAP from Liberland, and sovereign state between Croatia and Serbia, and I've come to kick the butt of all the statists. And that was a couple of years ago.
We do, yeah. We have a video of him saying that somewhere, right?
Yes, yes, there's video of that. We posted that on Twitter, so uh, I think it's in our Twitter feed. You know what? I'll probably repost that after we get off the space, just so people can see that again. So
Yeah, yeah, might as well. So yeah, Freedom Fest is awesome. I've been there several times. We actually just last week the guest preceding you, Tom, here on ANCAP Radio was
Joanne,
Joanne Skousen.
Joanne
Yep.
Skousen, yeah. I went to school with Valerie Skousen, who's the daughter
Oh
of
yeah, yeah.
Mark and Joanne, and she's great. And she's basically runs the show at Freedom Fest. And she and Autumn and Ned and many, many other people are doing such a professional job of putting together the agenda for Freedom Fest. We're happy to be a part of that. We're a gold sponsor of Freedom Fest this year, by the way.
Awesome. No,
One more thing in July, we're also going to be in Nashville at Bitcoin 2024. We were at Bitcoin 2023 in Miami last year, and Vit spoke on the main stage. And we are also going to be at Bitcoin 2024. They decided to move to Nashville, Tennessee. And that is later in the month. That is like 25th, 26th, 27th in Nashville. And we're going to have a side event. Dr. Adel, whom we know from GBA, is, we're setting up a Nashville office for Liberland. And he's going to help us plan some side events for Liberland in Nashville during Bitcoin 2024 there.
I love it. I love it. So much to get ready for with Liberland, guys. So again, if you're not following Liberland, go follow them right now on Twitter. If you're on the replay or listening on ancapradio.com, wherever you're at, you can simply just go to liberland.org at the very least to check out more information on our conversation today. Tom, it's been awesome doing another. Yeah, you're probably one of the most interviewed people I've ever done shows with across all platforms, period. Now that I think about it, I've had like 5, 6, maybe 7 interviews over the years. So anyways, thank you so much for coming on the show, investing your time with us. Is there anything that we covered today or anything on your mind that you would just want to let our listeners and our audience know before we get out of here?
I just want to thank all the members of our team, all the members of the government, all of our staff, the settlers who face some very challenging conditions over in Liberland, whether it's the weather, the water, or the Croatian officials. They're still holding strong. And all of our staff who really work hard to make sure things get done and to do things right. Not everybody always agrees on stuff, but we always find a way. It may not come out perfectly in the end, but people make a very serious effort at what they're doing and helping Liberland move forward. And we appreciate each other and everybody's efforts because we want to see freedom in our time. And that's our goal.
Absolutely, it is the goal. That's the mic drop moment right there, guys. So again, one more time, go follow Liberland here on Twitter or just wherever you're tuned in from. Liberland is easily accessible on the internet now, and also check out the Liberland blockchain. Some exciting stuff going on there. I know we just dropped a link in the thread below, but again, thank you for tuning in to another edition of ANCAP Radio. I'm your host. Again, our guest today was Tom Walls, Minister of Foreign Affairs over at Liberland. You guys rock. We will see you next week here at the same time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this is tentative, but we will throw it out there. I believe next week we are going to have our very own Dave Henderson on as a guest, along with Doug Casey, to talk about the future and the vision and the foundation of ANCAP Radio and how this all came together. So we're really looking forward to next week's episode. We'll see you guys then. Remember, and all you think, say, and do, take it to the next level.